Plantagenet, son of John, ruler of England, Wales, and Ireland, by right of ancestry, lord of half of France. This is the king's will. We are persuaded by our noble lord, the Baron of Marblehead, that government of the north is impractical from this great distance. We therefore declare that the north of our realm will hereafter be divided into territories that will be governed directly by the local barons in our name. Order shall be maintained by consensus between them without further need to consult the crown.
Sometimes things going exactly as you planned is the most shocking thing that can happen.
I was astonished, Lordness. I had never imagined the king would play into our hands as completely as this.
Me neither. I was really having a stab in the dark suggesting the king devolve powers to the border lords, and he went and did it. I've often said there's nothing more terrifying than adolescent humanity, but it has its redeeming qualities.
Easy to manipulate, like, Bishop.
Precisely, Scarkill.
But how best to make use of this free hand we have been given, Lordness?
That's the problem, you old French breakfast. I was so sure this wouldn't happen that I never planned this far ahead. But still, the king has taken his eyes off the north of England altogether, and that means the time might have finally arrived.
The time, Bishop. Time for what?
The great game is only a game so long as the crown insists it be so. The rules keeping our feud with Treguard from turning into a full war are only rules so long as Treguard continues to receive the approval of king and council. That's the only reason Treguard is considered the powers that be at all, and not just the Northguard, Scarkill. Because the king's council endorses him. But now, it seems, their attention is going to turn elsewhere, which means we can start doing whatever we like, and taking whatever we like.
We follows you like, but taking what exactly?
I think you know what I'm saying, Scarkill. My plans for this entire region require technological development, and that can't happen so long as the most powerful fortress in the region, a magical fortress no less, remains in the hands of some short-sighted, superstitious throwback who does everything in his power to advance the ideas of yesteryear instead.
Dunshelm, Lordness? You wish to attack Dunshelm itself?
Well, of course I do. Only this time we do it for real. No more sending giant, clumsy proxies to do the job for us, only to be sent crashing back onto our heads. We attack for real, and with everything we have.
Lordness, even without the Kingness's interference, that is still a plan best with hazards. Neither the Kingness nor Treguard are the only enemies we have. What of Hordris, or Maldame, or the Grey Sisters, or...
My dear old Toad, you simply list off the targets that will follow once I have dealt with Treguard.
Sounds lovely.
I am aware that this is your plans, but they will know it is your planness as much as I do. And they will be as aware as you are that the Kingness has disowned the North. They will surely be on their guard against attack. And worseness, they will be watching for us to make an attack on one of them. Then the others can strike at us, while our backs are turned.
Nothing spoils a happy development quite like dragging logic into the discussion. What should I do, though, Lissard? Just carry on business as usual, playing the same old cagey game of send your dungeoneers if you dare? The trouble is that kings die, Lissard, and they're especially vulnerable to illness when they're young. All this boy needs is a strong dose of flu one winter and he's gone, and whoever replaces him might not be so hands-off about the North. No, we have a real window of opportunity at last. We have to make use of it.
Of course, Lordness. I was not suggesting we be passive, merely that we be careful. We need safeguards in place. Some kind of guarantee-ness that we won't be attacked while attacking.
I'm listening.
Which factionists, apart from Dunshelm, would you say is the greatest danger to us, your lordness?
Well, let's see. Maldame is very close by, and I've never forgiven her for occupying my other palace. So long as she can keep what she has, she's not that interested in the balance of power around here. Lysandra usually sides with me, and besides, Winteria is a long way from here. Hordris is a nuisance, but he tends to operate so singly that he can't pose any coordinated threat. The elves have long since departed the forests. So I suppose the answer is probably the Grey Sisters.
My thoughts precisely, lordness. Abraham is not far from here, and despite their shortage of witch amber, there are so manyness of them that they are a threat. They would be most dangerous to attack while Dunshelm still stands, but they would be dangerous too at our backs while we attack Dunshelm. We need to neutralise them first, your lordness.
Neutralise them without attacking them, Lizard. I hope you're not suggesting what I think you're suggesting. Surely you're not that ignorant of recent history. I've made several attempts to form an alliance with those unwashed broom pilots, and they've never wanted to know.
Alliance is too strong a word, lordness. They will never swap that. It would demand much effort from them. I merely suggest we seek some kind of understandingness with the Grey Sisters.
How? Greystagg's always hated me, and after I shot Hegarty out of the sky over the Dunwood recently...
Greystagg is a practical lady, your lordness. Her greatest worry has always been that we might do to Abraham what we did to Witchhaven. That is why she is always poised to attack us, if the opportunity presents itself. But the Grey Sisters require witch amber, and their supplies have been loaners for years. They would rather not fight us at all. What Greystagg wants is to keep her home safe. She wants us to stop threatening her realm.
I suppose peace would be quite a bargaining chip.
And she could have it, either by our destruction, which she cannot cause unless our attentionness is elsewhere, or by coming to an understanding with us.
Of course, once Treguard's dealt with, Abraham is one of the other places I want to destroy.
For sure, lordness, but we might be able to foolness Greystagg into thinking otherwise. Long enough, at least, for us to make our attack on Nightmare Castle.
Alright, Lizard, you've got my interest. Just one thing, though. Like I said before, this could be a very narrow window of opportunity, so I don't want to waste it on dead ends. If we offered the Witch Queen a seat at the negotiating table, can I be sure that she'll sit?
We have spies in their ranks, lordness. They speak of Greystagg being ever more troubledness by the shortage of amber. They even whisper about her being overthrown should a new supply not be found.
Really? I would like to see that.
What? It could be years before the Grey Sisters tried something like that. You said it yourself, Bishop. We may not have that long, like.
Agreedness. And why wait for them to choose a new queen who will have her own ideas, when Greystagg can already be manipulated? She would rather focus her time on prospecting for witch amber than on defenseness. She wants breathing space. She will be willing at least to talk, lordness. I can promise you that much.
This communication from you is unexpected, witch. Your earlier violation of our sanctum is neither forgiven nor forgotten.
I am saddened to learn that the Sisterhood's conduct has offended you this gravely, milady. I hope you can understand that our intrusion in the mines of Lincoln was a result of desperation, not of disrespect.
The cause of our greatest puzzlement, Greystagg, was that you should make this irksome intrusion without seeking our consent first. Did you imagine we would be so close-minded as to refuse you entry to our sanctum without even hearing your reasons first?
A most regrettable decision. I should have instructed my prospector to request your permission before he entered the palace. That is why I contact you now. I wished to acknowledge that we should have shown more respect for your prerogatives.
How true. Our prerogatives are no idle matter.
Indeed. I trust that there will be no ill will between yourselves and the sisterhood as a result of this error on our part. You have my assurance that it will never happen again.
Hardly necessary, Greystagg. We can promise you that it will never happen again. We have already taken measures to make certain of it.
Milady?
We do not depend on promises alone, Greystagg. We make certain that those who make those promises will be motivated to stand by them. Our glorious Lingholm has new security arrangements, and any of your layabout sisters or dwarfish hirelings who enter here without our consent in future will meet with a most grisly fate. Now, rather than making us promises that we have already delivered for ourselves, perhaps you would show us minimum due respect, and tell us the real reason you have taken up our valuable time.
Milady, I have already made clear why I have contacted you. To make sure there will be no future tensions between Lingholm and Abraham.
Enough! We are fully aware that that is a pretext. The Grey Sisters and our glorious Lady of Lingholm have no business between them for such tensions to jeopardize. What is your true reason for contacting us? Speak, and speak honestly.
It is true that your help would be appreciated.
Indeed.
Lord Fear nearly slew one of my sisters a few weeks ago. He still intrudes on the affairs of the sisterhood in ways that endanger our survival. Lingholm is as much a part of the Mirelands as Marblehead. It is an ideal position to keep tabs on Fear's deeds, and I am well aware that this is what you do regularly.
Naturally. We are as interested in our survival as you are in yours. And knowledge of one's rivals is the greatest defense we can have. Such wisdom is but a small nugget in our intellectual treasure trove.
Precisely. I wish to request that the Grey Sisters be allowed to share in that defence. I wish to propose Abraham and Lingholm pool intelligence on Lord Fear's activities. This is critical now that the King of the Mortals has decided to abandon the North.
Request declined.
What?
Such an arrangement is against our interests. The more people know a secret, the less it is a secret. Your people might leak the information they learn from ourselves. If Lord Fear were to learn how we are able to spy on him, he would close the loophole, endangering our chances of survival.
The Sisterhood's chances of survival depend on the same knowledge. We need allies.
The problems of the Sisterhood are not the problems of our glorious Lady of Lingholm. This discussion is ended.
I hate that hag.
So, I now have unaccountable control over Dunshelm and the surrounding lands. I suppose I should feel honoured, but some honours are backhanded compliments.
You pretending to be humble again, huh? You loving these.
No, I'm not the only aristocrat around here, Vegeta, and that means I'm not the only one with new powers.
No.
So who else do you think will benefit from the king's decision?
Fearface? Who cares? He never bothered with rules anyway.
Oh, but he did. When he was sure that the king was watching, he was always careful not to be too casual about rules. Pickle, you're always very good at worrying and getting over-involved. What do you think?
Dungeon Master, may I ask, is this why you requested I attend the castle today? So that I could worry?
Yes. Like I say, you're good at that.
I no longer work for you. The Elf King has judged that I have fulfilled my duties here.
This is consultation, not employment.
Ah, that's different. You may well be correct. Lord Fear was always nervous about unfair conduct because of possible repercussions, and the worst repercussions would always be from the king. If the new king has disowned the North, Lord Fear would not be as reluctant to be seen getting his hands dirty.
He still has other enemies, though. He can't fight us all at once.
He might try it anyway. It's just how his mind works. It's hard to predict, but he might try it just for the sheer thrill of seeing if it can be done.
May I make a suggestion, then?
Of course, Stiletta.
Lord Fear is unpredictable, so what's the point of standing here trying to predict what he'll do? Let's try and find out.
May I remind you, Stiletta, that the last time we used a spyglass on him, he nearly boiled you alive?
Stealth is my stock in trade, Dungeon Master. I'll go to Marblehead and eavesdrop in person.
It be no use, Highness. Hecate can't do it. Hecate ain't ready.
Nonsense, my sister.
Hecate ain't ready. Fell a long way, so I did when Lord F shot me. Hey, hey, hey. Hecate's still hurting.
Now, we both know that is untrue, my sister. It's been weeks since you were attacked, and the healing magic I performed on you has completed its work. You are as well as you ever were.
Hecate don't want to go up in the sky again, milady. Hey, hey, hey. What if Lord F's watching, eh? What if he sees me throw the fireball at Hecate again? Hey, hey, hey. What if Hecate falls off again?
My sister, the first step is always the most difficult after a trauma. But that is why you have to try. You know the old adage. Whenever you fall off your broomstick, the best thing to do is to get straight back on it again.
Why can't Hecate practice indoors again? It'd be safer in Amberhain.
Don't be silly, my sister. In the open air, you have the space to fly free. That is what you need to free yourself, to fly.
Oh no! Goblins! Goblins, Highness! Hecate's in danger! Hecate's got to go right now!
No needs to panic like crone. I got a message for your queen thing, ain't I?
Stay away from Hecate! Stay away from Hecate! You people won't hurt Hecate again! I won't let you!
Stand away from my sister, Goblin Master. None of the sisterhood has forgotten what you did to her, and none of us will let it happen again.
Relax, like. I meant what I said, didn't I? I brings a message from his fearship. Nothing more, nothing less. So tell the little crone bag she can stop panicking like. That gibbering noise she keeps making is very unlovely.
Have a care, Scarkill. Hecate is still traumatized from Fear's attack on her.
I'll send flowers. Here, this is for you.
Why did Lord Fear not contact me directly? He has remote means of communication. He even has my calling name. Why does he send messengers with parchment instead?
He thought this would make you less nervous like, didn't he? Guess he was wrong. Rock, Gripper, let's go.
What do you think that was about? Hey, hey, hey!
It's quite unlike Lord Fear to be coy. Presumably the message will tell us, but I would not care to read it out loud in the open. Best we return to Amberhain first.
Oh! Top idea, Highness! Top idea! Hey, hey, hey!
I did not expect many objections. Very well. Hecate, you may resume your retraining another time. Let's go home.
Lizard, come in. I just heard from Scarkill. You managed to get the message to Greystagg without any violence.
Truly, Lordness, I did not picture Scarkill managing such a task without the clickness of a single manacle.
You really don't think very much of him, do you, Lizard?
With respect, Lordness, I was always a little puzzled that you brought him back into the fold. When you dismissed him after that business with the red dragon and the lightning...
Quiet! You catarrh infection on legs! I don't know how many times I have to tell you I don't want you ever to remind me of that little episode. And if you must know, I rehired Scarkill because I realized that Raptor was overloaded.
Logical, I suppose.
I'm afraid that one day he might try to take back the seneschal duties you took from him, Lizard. Good. I like my troops to be nervous about the very real courses of action I may take. Keeps them on their guard, keeps them properly motivated.
It is good that the Goblin Master has passed the message on as instructed, Lord. What matters, though, is how the Grey Sisters respond.
Of course, but let's face it. Given recent events, it's a very positive sign that they didn't attack him on sight.
You really thought they might attack him, Lordness?
Of course. Why do you think I sent someone else and didn't go myself? Bottom line is, if the Grey Sisters are willing to receive a herald, however briefly, then that means you're right. They may well be willing to talk.
What will our bargaining position be, Lordness? Greystagg is sure to demand something more than just a promise of peaceness. She will want something substantial. Territory, perhaps.
You may have a point there. She's sure to ask for some sort of gesture of good faith. Good faith. A phrase I never thought I'd use.
Perhaps we have something we can offer her. Not so long ago they prospected the mines of Linghorn, tried to find us the legendary underground forest of Amber. Never found it, of course, because they only searched through the first 3 levels of the mines.
Well, of course they did. There are only 3 levels.
Not quite, Lawrence. There is, in effect, a 4th level of the mines of Linghorn.
Keep talking, Lizard.
I explored them before Maldemy stole the palace from us, Lawrence. Many years ago, long before we built the palace there was some kind of accident. What caused it, I don't know, but a large stretch of mine floor on the 3rd level caved us in, revealing a large cavern below the mines, but above the mires.
And what of it? Are you telling me there is a forest in this cavern?
Not a forest. A ring of 5 trees, fed water by a large underground stream. But these trees, your lordness, are amber trees.
Why did you never tell me this before?
You would have sent me back there to retrieve the trees, and those caverns frighten me. There is something about them, lordness, something most dangerousness.
I have no time for cowardice among my troops, Lizard. I needed to know. It would have made it an absolute cinch to manipulate the Grey Sisters before now.
It can still happen, lordness. They would surely accept a peace agreement in return for, say, a map of the mines, showing the only way down to the cavern.
Well, yes, but... Did you just hear something?
Lordness.
I could have sworn I heard steps over there. What? Oh, yes, what is it?
My lord.
Yes, Maldemy, I hear you. I am extremely busy at the moment, so make it good.
Our council has requested, somewhat impertinently, that we should communicate with you, Lord Fear. They are concerned how you might choose to respond to the king's new decree. They seek reassurances that you have no fresh designs on our glorious sanctum.
Really? You can tell them, in all honesty, that I have no fresh designs on Linghorn.
Indeed? What guarantees are there, apart from your word?
None, lady, but I'll say it again if it gives you comfort. I have no fresh designs on Linghorn. Good day, madam. My designs on Linghorn are exactly the same as they always were. I want it back. Right, Lizard, where were we?
Lord F wants to talk, eh? Said that before, eh? We told him where to get off. We should tell him again, eh?
You don't believe the request is genuine, Hecate?
How should I know? Hecate ain't no detective, eh? Hecate just know what Lord F is, eh?
He does not appear to be proposing an alliance this time, my sister. Only peace.
When Lord F says peace, he means slavery in anyone else's books, eh? Do what I say and I doesn't attack you anymore. That's what Lord F mean by peace, eh? That's what Hecate thinks of that.
Yes, but he isn't saying that in this message. He's putting the definition of a peace between us up for discussion this time. He even stipulates that he will not demand any type of militant actions from us against anyone else in exchange for a ceasefire.
Words, eh? Just words.
I know, but... My sister, we are discussing peace. You say it's only words, but other than words, what alternative will there ever be? The path from conflict to peace is only ever trodden by those who cease fighting and start talking.
Highness, you ain't gonna say yes, eh?
Well, why not? All Fear is asking for is to talk, my sister. There is nothing to lose by hearing him out.
No, nothing.
Treguard, the man at arms thingy say he sees the letter heading our way. She at the moat side.
Well, if she's that near to the flagstones of the castle, I can speed up her progress. Spellcasting. R-E-T-U-R-N.
What? Oh, you warn me before you transport me like that?
It was a long way to shout. I take it you have news from your espionage mission, Stiletta.
Yes, and it's disturbing. Lord Fear is trying to form an alliance with the Grey Sisters again.
An alliance? You're sure you don't mean he's trying to enslave them yet again?
Greystagg would never ally with Fear. He's tried to get them on side many times before
I'm not so confident, Elf. From what they were saying, it doesn't exactly sound like she slammed the door in Fear's face.
She's humouring him. Nothing more.
I no trust Greystagg. She out for herself. Always has been. If you know many people who aren't like that, you've lived a charmed life, Majida.
You make a good point, Stiletta. Nevertheless, Pickle is also correct. Greystagg hates Lord Fear. And after that recent business with Hegarty and the Dunwood, she also owes us a debt of gratitude. I doubt she would be so dishonourable as to side with the enemy we've defeated for her.
In my experience, Treguard, to a Grey Sister, gratitude only means the expectation of favours to follow. A debt is a grey area for them, appropriately enough.
You wants me to be lead negotiator, like? Not my sort of thing.
Diplomacy requires a cooler head than you can usually manage, but the best alternatives I have are Raptor, who's even more volatile than you, and Lissard, who's likely to repel the Grey Sisters with the malodorous stench of rotting sea life that permeates every misbegotten molecule of his rancid breath. No offence, Lissard.
None taken, Lordness.
I suppose I can be polite to them witches, Bishop. I doesn't hate them nearly as much as I hates Kavanagh. I suppose I can even be nice to them.
Certainly, but don't take it too far. First rule of making a profit, Scarkill: learn to hate the person you're negotiating with, no matter how much you might like them. That way you find it a lot easier to take advantage of them.
Won't be a problem. I doesn't like 'em. I just doesn't hate 'em like I hates Kavanaghs.
And second rule of making a profit: don't let them realise that you hate them, no matter how much you do, or else they'll up their price.
This is going to be tricky, Bishop. Difficult balance to strike.
All you'll need to do is thrash out the finer details with their representatives, Scarkill. A lot of them will be too petty for either of you to lose tempers over. The important negotiations will proceed between myself and Greystagg when she contacts us, which should be any minute. Right on cue. Okay, you two stand outside the door, listen in carefully, but don't let Greystagg know you're here, just in case. It might make her overconfident and less discreet if she thinks she's dealing only with me.
Yes, Lordness.
Greystagg, I am most honoured and grateful that you accepted my request for talks.
Talking costs little, Lord Fear. That's why disingenuous expressions of gratitude will fool nobody.
Disingenuous? Come now, Your Highness, you know me better than to think I believe in anything other than straight talking.
Perhaps. Tell me, my lord, what can you and I possibly have to discuss?
Oh, what indeed, Your Highness. What indeed.
Amberaheen hears ya! Amberaheen hears ya! This be Hegarty! Hey! Who calls Amberaheen?
Treguard, Lord of Dunshelm and Dungeon Master of Nightmare Castle. I will have words with Queen Greystagg.
Oh! You! Hegarty. Not sure where Her Highness is at the moment, eh? No, not sure where she is. Hey!
I find that very hard to believe, Hegarty.
Hegarty don't know. Queen don't tell Hegarty everything, no. If Her Highness wished to be alone, she will be. Hey!
Hegarty, this is important. I hear disturbing news that she is in communication with Lord Fear. I wish to know if she is, and what they are discussing.
Not true. She ain't.
I should certainly hope not. And I imagine that you would hope not either, seeing what Fear did to you so recently. Why, if Greystagg were collaborating with Lord Fear in any way, well, I can't imagine how betrayed you would feel. But as you say, it's not true. Is it?
No, not true.
And of course, you would not conceal such a heinous action from me just for her, if she betrayed you in such a way. Would you?
She
owes me for saving your life, Hecate. You owe me for that as well. She even promised me a favour in return.
Nothing to do with Lord F, though. No favours to do with Lord F. That's what she said. She can talk to him without breaking a promise to you. She ain't betraying you just by talking to him.
So she is in discussions with him.
Oops.
Hecate, this is important, and I cannot believe you are any happier about it than I. I need to know exactly what Greystagg and Lord Fear are discussing. Honour is honour, Hecate. You must tell me.
Hecate can't.
I have good reason for caution, my lord. We have no history of trust. I am as contemptuous as you of the concept of all blame going one way, but historically the aggressor has unfailingly been yourselves. You destroyed Witch Haven. You have tried on many occasions to corner our supply of witch amber. You attacked Hecate without provocation. After all that, you come to me and ask me for a pact? Even if it is just a non-aggression pact, it will take a lot to persuade me. I am sure you can understand that much.
So, you're not interested in anything I have to propose? Well, if that's the case...
Do not mistake skepticism for dismissal, my lord. If I were not willing to hear you out, this conversation would never have started. All I am saying is, if you are going to table a peace proposal, it had better be very, very good.
Reflecting the gravity of past misunderstandings.
That certainly does not sound like straight talking to me.
I was trying to emulate your unique powers of verbal incontinence, Highness. I won't give you humbug reasons for why I want peace. You are far too intelligent not to have worked out the real reason.
Any peasant tending a field of corn could have calculated that.
And that reason is also the cause of our past misunderstandings, Greystagg.
Do explain.
You have been a complication in the civil war with Treguard, madam. It has never been clear in a great many situations whether the Grey Sisters would avoid getting involved, or on whose side they would involve themselves. Your past refusals of alliance have been a symptom of this. Therefore, in the interests of defence, I have had to make sure that Treguard could never draw you
Defence? Destroying the home of the Grey Sisters without a word of warning was an act of defence? Do not insult my intelligence with such a corrupted language, my lord.
You said you would hear me out, Highness, so let me finish. Yes, destroying Witch Haven was aggressive. Preventive measures often are. But I would not have done it. I would not have needed to do it, had I been sure that you would not have attacked the opposition while we were in battle with Treguard. An aggressive precaution, that's all it was.
Aggressive precautions is just another way of saying paranoia.
Label it paranoid if you like, but surely you can see the solution. My reasons for attacking you were to keep you from attacking me. If I could have credible assurances that you won't attack me anyway, there would be no reason for further conflict between us. I could deal with Treguard without worrying about the Grey Sisters' interference, and the Grey Sisters can proceed with their quest for new sources of witch amber without worrying about opposition interference.
As I say, given our history, I find such a promise on your side far from persuasive. We would need stronger guarantees than your word.
I thought you might.
Well, I take it you have more to suggest than just a wholly negative agreement not to attack each other.
How about the Palace of Linghorn? Would that be a sufficiently defensible guarantee?
Linghorn? What has Linghorn to do with this?
You can have the palace, and more importantly, what's in it, if you will agree to a peace pact.
Still not persuasive, Lord Fear. You no longer have Linghorn to offer. It was taken from you years ago by Maldame.
Indeed. Someone else I plan to settle old scores with once Treguard's out of the way. I can give you inside information to help you obtain the palace as a replacement for that primitive collection of hovels you currently inhabit, if in return you promise that afterwards you will send me Maldame as a prisoner, and I get your firm commitment to stay out of my argument with the powers that be. Interested?
Possibly.
Only possibly. That's your idea of talking straight, is it? Well, let me sweeten the deal further. Not so long ago, you had Bumptious search the mines below Linghorn for witch amber without Maldame's permission. He concluded that there was nothing there. Is that not so?
True enough.
Well now, what if I were to tell you that I have better information?
Paranoia is the occupational hazard of a dungeon master. The very notion of an alliance between the witches and Lord Fear is beyond laughable. Each faction finds the other repellent.
The fastidiousness of both factions does them credit, then. Nonetheless, Maldame, their revulsion is largely a matter of taste, not of principle. It is plausible that they might suspend hostilities to deal with mutual adversaries.
That is more likely to be you than ourselves.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. I'm a target for Lord Fear, not for the Grey Sisters. You, on the other hand, occupy one of Lord Fear's bases, and you are on poor terms with the Grey Sisters after that business with the miner from Hog. Are you certain that I am the likelier target, madam?
Are we then to understand that you are requesting an alliance, Dungeon Master? You are not the first to make such a bold demand recently, and you will not be the first to receive a clipped refusal. We only entertain bargains that are of substantial profit.
I demand nothing, I request nothing, I even offer nothing. I'm simply keeping you informed. You're of use to me as an obstacle to Lord Fear, in alliance with me or otherwise. You may do whatever you like with this knowledge, including ignore it, if that is your wish. My regards.
Well, Greystagg, the offer's on the table. Linghorn and this map, leading to the source of witch amber you were hunting for, if you agree. Come on, talk straight. What do you think, honestly?
It's exactly what I need.
Precisely. So sign.
Almost too good to be true, in fact.
There is a ring of 5 amber trees in those caverns, Greystagg, and this map can lead you to it. And let's be honest, madam. You can't secure an alliance with anyone else besides me, and conflict with me is the reason you needed allies in the first place.
True. Ending the conflict will make lost alliances unimportant.
Quite. I suppose we still have a lot of fine details to iron out before we have a firm deal, but do you at least agree in principle? Well?
We have to go now? There is storm brewing out there.
Yes, we have to go now. There's a far larger storm brewing at Amberheim.
Dungeon Master, are you leaving?
We certainly are. I can't get through to Greystagg when I try to contact Amberheim. Heggerty keeps answering me instead, and she just won't cooperate. My only alternative is to go to Amberheim in person.
Master, that's a dangerous journey.
I know. That's why I'm not travelling alone.
Even so, it is too big a risk for such a small matter.
Small matter? An alliance between Lord Fear and the Grey Sisters is a small matter?
Yes, Master, I think you're taking this too seriously. There just won't be an alliance, Greystagg could never tolerate the idea of helping Lord Fear. Never.
Complacency is a poor substitute for strategy, Sprite. We'll be back in 2 days if all goes well. Majida, come on! Curse it! Always when I'm most in a hurry, the weather is against me.
I did tell you so.
If there's one way of making yourself unpopular with people acting out of necessity, it's by saying, I told you so.
Yeah. But I still tell you so.
Gia!
Treguard, help!
My liege, wake up. Please, wake up.
Treguard, wake up! Something strange going on, wake up!
Majida, are you alright? Pickle?
Looks like he's going to be alright after all.
Where am I?
Back in the Great Hall of Nightmare Castle, my liege. We brought you back after the accident.
Accident? What accident?
We're not sure. Looks like you were riding past a tree when lightning struck it.
Oh. Lucky to still be here, then.
Yes, lucky. Lucky for you. Treguard.
Have I done something to upset you, Stiletta? You seem to be... Pickle? Pickle, why are you kneeling in front of me like that?
The king has not given me permission to stand in his presence, my liege.
The king? What would the king be doing here? And what do you mean, liege? Pickle, what are you wearing? I've never seen you dressed all in black before. Hordris, is that you? Why are you here? And what happened to your beard?
Ah, splendid. The king lives. He has survived his ordeal.
Yes, our beloved king lives.
I shall announce it to the denizens of the dungeon, my liege. There will be much rejoicing and relief.
Much.
I declare to all inhabitants of his sacred royal majesty's domain, King Treguard lives on.
King?
Long live King Treguard, Count of Anjou, Duke of Normandy, Lord of Aquitaine. Long live King Treguard, ruler of all England.